TV, anime, video games, books, Star Trek, Marvel, My Hero, Hook. It don't matter what you into, don't matter what you do, here on Nerd Shit, we got something for you.
Welcome back to Hypothetically Sound Presents-Nerd Sh, where we talk about nerd shit, and welcome back to the Walking Dead series, where we go through each and every episode and talk to you guys about what we think about the episode. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good, you?
Doing well, doing splendid. How you doing, Mom?
I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, well, that's not good enough, but good enough for now, I guess.
It's kind
This is why I love you guys.
I'm
gonna cry.
You have to be our mother.
That would really hurt.
So before we get into me, doing the recap of the episode, do some little trivia, ask you guys some questions about the episode, see how much you paid attention.
Oh, no, hold on. Why can't I ask you the questions? Give me the question sheet.
Nah, dog. How many deaths were in this episode?
Which episode 5 that we're doing right now?
No, 12 from season 9. Yes, this episode. How many deaths were in this episode?
A whole lot, because they blew up the freaking city. I don't know how many people live there.
Do zombies count?
Yep.
If you don't count the flashback, which is impossible to count, 2.
Close. What you said a lot, Mom? Is your guess was a lot?
Because of the napalm scene. That was in the episode. I don't know how many people were living there. Well, it's implied.
Implied and seen is different.
Maybe 3.
Was 1. It was a squirrel. It was the only death in the episode.
No, pretty sure Daryl kills a couple zombies. So it'd be 3.
Well, this site only says 1, and I trust it.
Well,
they say a squirrel.
They're not counting zombies. That's why I asked if we counted zombies.
Why? I assume they were counting zombies, so they're not.
See, that's kind of crazy that you were out here lying. I'm sorry for cussing.
Well,
you
blew the one for the episode.
Who makes their last appearance ever in The Walking Dead in this episode? I will tell you it's in a flashback. To make it a little easier for you.
Sophia?
Nope.
No, she comes back as a zombie.
What was the question?
Oh, spoiler alert.
Last appearance of the person ever in The Walking Dead. In a flashback.
Oh.
Carol's husband.
Meryl.
Nope. Meryl's in like 4 more seasons.
He is in 4 more seasons.
It is Ed. It is Ed. Mom was correct. And then the last one. When they reach the farm, Daryl comments that this is the 3rd time Rick has pointed his gun at him. Do you remember the other 2 episodes that he did it in?
No.
Hold on.
How is this even about this episode? Bro,
He pointed the gun at the 3rd time at him.
Well, at least he didn't shoot him. Like your favorite character did.
I will tell you, they're in the 1st season.
Is it when he came out of the woods and he didn't know who he was because he thought he was a zombie coming out of the woods?
That is one. Tell it to the frogs when Rick first appears at the camp.
Yep. And then on the roof when he came at Rick, or when he told him about it being about handcuffing Merle. It had to do something with handcuffing Merle.
It is the 5th episode when Rick leads the group to the CDC.
Don't remember that one.
Me neither.
Just a little fun trivia. Get people their mind juices flowing. Get your mind juices flowing.
I thought there was going to be a test.
Well, always be prepared. I feel like you
Okay,
guys aren't
ready.
prepared.
Can't wait till next episode.
Someone is a
fool.
Girl Scout. Someone's a Girl Scout. Are you going to lead it?
Am I going to lead it?
Yeah,
No,
I might.
I'm
Stupid. Like you ain't special because you lead it.
I lead every episode. I am
Let's see.
special.
Let's see how much you've been paying attention. I haven't, but hey, I'm gonna do the question, so it doesn't matter. Shut up, Steve Harvey.
Yeah, exactly. I read the cards correctly, though. Remember that.
Ouch.
Time for the plot.
No, you don't. What's the name of the episode?
Chupacabra.
Okay, continue.
So yeah, we're in season 2, episode 5, Chupacabra. In the opening flashback, Lori and Shane are seen escaping the refugee center on the at the onset of the Walker epidemic. They watch in horror as military helicopters drop napalm on Atlanta. Flashback to the present. The survivors continue their search for the missing Sophia. Herschel expresses his concern to Rick that his group has gotten too comfortable on Herschel's farmland. Herschel is particularly concerned on how close Glenn and his daughter Maggie appear to be. Meanwhile, Glenn accidentally learns Lori is pregnant, and she asks him to keep it a secret from Rick. During the search party, Shane tells Rick the search is pointless and they should continue on to Fort Benning. Rick later confides in Lori that Shane may be right. Lori privately confronts Shane, reminding him that her and Carl's well-being are no longer his problem. Daryl goes out on horseback searching for Sophia, eventually coming across her doll in a riverbed. As he follows the river, a snake frightens his horse and he is thrown and severely wounded by one of his crossbow bolts in the fall. He starts to hallucinate his missing brother Merrill, who berates him for spending so much time searching for Sophia. Daryl wakes in time to find a walker chewing on his shoe, quickly kills the walker and another approaching walker, and then takes their ears as trophy necklace. Daryl limps towards the farm and from a distance is mistaken as a walker. Andrea shoots him, grazing his head and knocking him unconscious. Rick reaches Daryl first and hides the walker ear necklace before Herschel can see it. Daryl's treated, and when he wakes, tells Carol what he had found and where he had found it, for which she is grateful. Carol and Lori attempt to repay Herschel for his hospitality by cooking dinner, but tensions remain high. Maggie discreetly passes Glenn a note asking him when they can have sex again. However, both Herschel and Daryl witness this. Glenn writes a reply and returns a note after dinner. I can't speak. Maggie reads Glenn's reply and is horrified as he promised to wait in the barn for her. She rushes to try to stop him, but it's too late as Glenn discovers the barn is filled with walkers. That's the episode. What do you guys think of the episode?
It's a good episode with because it just gives you some prior information of what happened before, we jump in the series.
Mm-hmm.
It still shows some character development of Daryl because, he's still got some unfinished business with his brother.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, up until that point, it kind of does feel like he forgets a little bit. So it's good to know that, that's still something that's on his conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the big reveal at the end. And who would have thought horniness would have made it happen?
Yeah, sure.
It also helps carry up the decline of Rick and Shane's relationship because their views are so different on how they need to proceed to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And it still works on the development of Merle's character with him using all the derogatory language he does. When he's having his flashbacks.
No, definitely a big episode for Daryl. And I think this kind of is when they decided to fully push Daryl as a main character. And Norman Reedus comes into his own, knowing what's happening, knowing what the plan was for the end of the season. I think getting Daryl to be seen as a good guy was important for them. And so it's definitely the start of him battling his past demons but just still showing the work it's going to take to get past those demons. So they did a good job. What did you guys think of the opening flashback with the napalm?
I completely forgot about that from when they replayed it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Mm-hmm.
I remember them going back and going, "Okay, so this is how they got with Carol. You know, that's how that little group started."
Yeah.
But then, when they saw the helicopters and the napalm drop, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that piece."
So with everything that we assume to know about zombies, uh, do you think if a zombie apocalypse was to happen, that is the step the government would take, is dropping some type of advanced weapon on uh, heavy populated areas?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty realistic. I feel like we've done it before already in real life.
It's the way, I mean, it's just they can't control it with people, and that's their next thing is a no contact bomb or the napalm or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and just try to contain it that way. It's basically a last ditch effort when they start doing that. I
I
mean,
would
pretty much
hope
any.
we would learn from, like, while obviously it's fiction, it's science fiction. I would hope we would learn that it doesn't accomplish anything.
No, I mean, look at how many science fiction movies out there that they try to do stuff like that. They do the big barricades around and then they try to do something drastic inside and it never
Mm-hmm.
works. Never. Flooding
Like,
it,
yeah.
anything. They try all kinds of stuff.
Like, honestly, it comes down, if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, uh, the government gets on television, phones, whatever, and tells people to stay in their homes. If you leave the home, you will be shot. Then you send out the National Guard, police, whatever, and literally anything that is walking, you shoot and kill.
Jeez, that's pretty drastic.
It is fair. I do feel like if the zombie apocalypse, it wouldn't be as drastic as it is, but like the reason it will continue is because of idiots who are like, oh, these zombies are nothing like the movies, and they trip and fall and
Yeah.
get infected.
Mm-hmm.
Like because human error is and dumbasses are just a thing
Mm-hmm.
that we have to deal with.
And
Survival of the fittest.
I think if it's like, I know we're getting off a little off topic, but with them, obviously the government knows that, or at least the government that's left, scientists knew that you die, you become a zombie. Uh, so it would change how the world was ran. Dying, uh, and being injured, like where there's 50-50 chance that it is a you put the person down type thing. That's how society would come. If like you get hurt, you get sick, you get any of these things, like I think it would be everybody that is working for the government, police, EMT would carry a gun and headshot anybody who wasn't gonna make it.
That humanity would have to go out the window, sadly, but
Yeah, it would change how we view civilization and humanity.
I mean, and that's kind of what you see going forward in The Walking Dead, as we get into other characters
Yeah.
in future. There are some societies out there that's their philosophy.
Okay, back to the story, the episode specifically. Do you? I personally think searching for the girl was a waste of time after the first 2 days. Uh, you didn't find her. Uh, with all of everybody out there searching, the chances she was alive was in the sub 20s. Do you agree with Shane that they should have stopped looking?
I agree. And I know the main reason they were doing it was for Carol. And they should have just let it be and let her grieve and stop looking and taking care of the other things they needed to.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Alec?
Yeah, I probably would have gave up as soon as like sounds super fucked. As soon as they went down and realized she was missing, I'd probably been like, "Oh, you're dead."
Mm-hmm.
And then like, if she's not dead, cool. We'll probably bump into her. It's not a lot of areas she can go, but chances are she is dead.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if it again, and if she was any older, it would be like maybe she gonna be alive, but she like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like even I feel like even a 13-year-old has a decent chance to at least get away and be smart enough to get away, but like a 10-year-old, not as much.
Yeah, at least not this 10-year-old for sure.
Well, I don't think Carl could have either. If Carl went missing, I think it would be the same scenario.
I'm
at that
saying
point.
there's other
Oh.
10-year-olds in the series that could
Yeah,
get away.
but they're built different.
Yeah,
They weren't 10. They weren't 10 when it started. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, they're not 10 in this current time frame.
Yeah, they're like they grew up with zombies. It's different.
So let's get to the meat of this episode. The flashbacks and the ear necklace and everything that happens with Darrow. Did you enjoy that aspect of his character development?
Yeah, like I said earlier, you kind of forget that he cared about his brother, if that makes sense. Like, there's so much going on that it just becomes a sideline thing, and it just kind of reminds the viewer and I guess Darrow that is a storyline that is still being kind of explored. Like, it reminds you that he's out there potentially still.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think what's interesting about Darrow, I bet a lot of people like a lot of younger brothers or younger cousins or younger friends all like were able to see themselves in Darrow because we all know those douchebags that are like Merle. Like, maybe not super racist, but they all have their sexist or there's something about them that are just god awful. And then there's a kid that hangs out with them that's like not as bad, but he's a douchebag by proxy. Like, he doesn't look as bad, but he still like hangs out with this person, even though like he sees their views on things. He partakes in some of it, kind of like the younger brother in American History X.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a horrible person, but he was following the lead of his older brother and the people around him and became a racist by proxy. And I think that's what Darrow was. And then obviously the belief in, at least in media, is you get away from that proxy, that person, and you no longer act that way and you become who you want to be. And that's what Darrow starts going through here. He changed because all of a sudden that proxy was back in his, at least in his subconscious, was back. So he ripped the ears off, went back to the I'm a woods guy, I'm a big bad man, and had to have his necklaces, and I'm gonna go back and be a man and prove them how tough I am.
And then get shot by Andrea because she
Yeah.
don't know how to listen.
I hate her.
And then the final thing that happens, which is huge, cliffhanger type stuff, is the dinner with both groups and the booty call that goes awry.
Hey, who decided who sits at the kids' table?
Uh,
Did you
I don't know.
notice?
No,
I'm looking at it going, okay, so I get, you know, the two, Jimmy and Beth.
yeah.
And I'm like, and Carl, but who decided that Lori and Glenn had to sit at the kids' table? Because there was room at the big table.
They probably just sat there to be nice. Well, and it kind of plays into Glenn still being like, even though he clearly just grew up like a little bit maturity wise from last episode, he's still a kid at heart for a little bit.
Yeah,
And I think that's just
and
he
Herschel,
naturally probably sat there.
right? And if you look at it like in a director's mind or writer's mind, they're like, hey, be funny because Glenn's just becoming a man, and
Yeah.
Herschel still sees Lori as his little girl.
Yeah.
So that was just something I thought was funny.
What did you think of the big barn full of walkers and being seen?
That was the first time. I mean, that's the first time that was revealed because it hadn't been in any even hint to it
Yeah.
in previous episodes. So, going in there and the way Lori was running out, you knew something was coming.
What do you
And
think
then
of? Oh, sorry.
right away, don't say nothing, don't say nothing.
It was an interesting reveal, and it kind of like makes sense. It kind of goes full circle, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the way they act and their mindset and all that. Well, most of their mindsets and all that. It really, really just makes sense. I think it's weird that no one has gone near the barn before that.
Yeah.
Well, the barn, if you look where it is in relation to the rest of the property,
They've been there for like a week, and they just ain't
No one
walking.
yeah. And it's clear like they're not told they can't walk over there because Daryl just walks a random path.
Also,
True.
Glenn just shows up, like he just goes there.
Yeah, and so they know it's there. And he picked it because he knew, like, he noticed not a lot of people go over by it.
But I just feel like Rick Shane, one of those guys, would have looked at the perimeter and walked by the barn at some point, right?
Yeah.
And like I think they do show a couple shots where they like go by it ish,
Mhm.
but it's just weird that no one's like, "Hey, what's in the barn? We can just sleep in the barn instead of in the house." Anything like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
No, it is. It definitely is that it took this to be the thing that set the barn off. Like, I get they were setting up, but yes, you think someone would have walked into it, walked by it, something like that beforehand. And it's funny because clearly Maggie isn't like any of her family. She's not pretending what's happening in the real world isn't happening. She understands it. Very intelligent girl. But at the same time, like she wants to like keep her family from losing their mind. So like allowing them to pretend, I think she thinks is what's keeping them sane. And like she knows why she's telling Glenn to keep it secret. It's because she knows what needs to be done, and she knows they are going to do it if they find out. And while she's not mad, she wouldn't be mad at them, like for doing it. She would be mad at them for breaking like this psychosis that she's allowing her family to have to keep them sane and alive.
right there, because it's her brother and her stepmom.
No one knows yet. We aren't that far.
True. We're not.
I do gotta admit, when I saw it the first time, and even this time, I was looking for Sophia in there. When I saw it the first time, I'm like, they just got a random barn, and I'm like, are they collecting? No, there's no little kid in there.
Yeah. Well, of course, like he didn't see much. He heard them, and I think like saw them for an instant before
Yeah.
Maggie grabbed him out. So he has no clue who's down there.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on this episode before we wind it down here?
I think we should have been from the very first episode, keeping track of who had, like the main characters, who had close calls, just to see how many times they should have died already. I was thinking of that
Every single day they wake up.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when Daryl, waking up because he thought Merle was kicking his boot, and it was a zombie on his boot.
Any last thoughts, Alec?
None. 0 thoughts. His
Yeah, sounds
brain
about right.
empty. That's a good fire. No Baldur's Gate talking in podcast.
That is the end of the episode. We thank you guys for tuning in as always.
Yeah, for sure.
We will be doing episode 6 here soon, and we go on to 7, 8, 9, 10. We're like LeBron James. We'll just keep going and going.
Are we like LeBron James? Because like he's an athletic freak.
And until next time, you guys have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye.
I did. I said bye, y'all. I said it first.
You didn't at all.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Bye,
They
y'all.
didn't hear it.
I had to do it again. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Hypothetically Sound. We hope you enjoyed the episode. All episodes can be found at hypotheticallysound.podbean.com, as well as on Apple, Spotify, and Pandora. For full unedited video versions of the podcast, please visit us at youtube.com/hypotheticallysound.